This is Surfing Through Cinema. I'm your host, YA Harry. Today, with my brother Hunter, we will be discussing the next film for Streaming Through Cinema, Blazing Saddles. All right, Hunter. So, what are some details that you found that you liked about it? So, like technical, whatever. What did you find?
Yeah, so I liked to just mess around on the Wikipedia to find my information. There was just some funny things that went into the production of this. For example, the actual song, the Blazing Saddles song, um, it's it's sung by like Frankie Lane, who's like a famous Western movie singer. And like I guess
Uh-huh.
when they were like making the intro song and stuff, they didn't tell him it was a spoof of a Western. Because they were looking for someone who sang like him for their thing. But then
Uh,
he actually like replied or whatever. And I thought that was super funny. So he like they didn't have the whip effects in the song or anything. Like he found out about that later. So I just thought that was pretty funny.
well, interestingly enough, I was looking up, um, some technical details, and they had three Academy Award nominations for this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
What for?
One was for Best Song, so Blazing Saddles, and Best Supporting Actress, the lady who had a lisp, and then I think Best Editing. Those are the three.
That's funny. That's pretty good. Another funny thing, one running joke throughout the whole thing is the Hedy Lamarr joke. He's like Headley or whatever. So I guess Hedy Lamarr, obviously I wouldn't know this because I'm not cool, but she was like a famous Western movie actress, and right, something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, she was.
she was like angry at them for like parodying her name in the show. So she like literally tried to sue them, or she did sue them for $100,000, and they just paid it. They were like they like settled or whatever. They didn't take it to court or anything. They just like they thought it was funny. And the quote I wanted to share from Wikipedia, so it's definitely what he said.
Definitely reliable.
Mel Brooks said that he was flattered to choose not to fight it in court. The studio settled out of court for a small sum and an apology for almost using her name. Brooks said that Lamar never got the joke, and I thought that was hilarious. Like those, he's totally right. I don't know why she got all hurt. That like I don't know. That like gives you some publicity, man.
I liked how Headley Lamar was dead on her name.
What was funny too is in the actual movie, um, Headley's line is like, "This is 1874. You'll be able to sue her." So like they directly mention the lawsuit in the movie as a joke against Hetty. I thought, or Headley, yeah, Hetty. I thought that was so funny. Yeah. Do you have another technical detail? Or are we moving on?
No, that was pretty much it. Yeah, we can move on. All right. So, what were some plot points you thought were hilarious or were very memorable for you?
Um, Plot points that I enjoyed in the movie. Honestly, the plot points were kind of hard to follow a little bit. Like, not
There's not really a
it's
plot.
yeah. There's not. I mean, stuff happens, and like there is the whole thing of like we're gonna make the railroad go through this town or whatever. But it's like so loose. It kind of makes me feel like when you watch a regular Western and like a lot of time passes, so you're kind of confused on what was going on to begin with. I don't know. It was just kind of indirect. And I don't know if that was on purpose or if you're just not paying close enough attention because you're distracted by all the gags and the shiny lights. But
Yeah.
so I guess I don't know. I like I think it's funny when they dress up, when they like beat up the two Ku Klux Klan members. That was a funny plot point just because
Yes.
like I don't know, it totally like the movie's already like wild, but then like as soon as that happens, it just goes insane, and then they enter the real world, or like they're in the universal lot and all that. Like it just, as soon as they do that, I thought that was a funny place because that's kind of where it turns. Even though like the whole thing is a joke, I get it, but like that's where it actually like turns. And then you're like, oh my. And then they watch the rest of the movie in the theater. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was definitely hilarious. Um, I just liked how everybody in Rockridge, their last name was Johnson. I thought that was hilarious. Like,
I thought that
Yeah,
was
okay, I
hilarious.
totally forgot about that. They're all on the banner, the Rockridge Council. Yeah, they're all Johnson. That was pretty good. All inbred white people. Like, it was funny.
what else? Oh, and I loved Mel Brooks when he was dressed up as an Indian and he was talking with like a Yiddish accent. I thought that was hilarious too.
Yeah,
Hilarious too.
he kept changing his accent. like he was talking like some Jewish gangster or something. It was hilarious. Or like, I don't even know, but they made a callback to that later too, which was funny. But yeah, he played like 3 characters in the movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the line of people, do you know who that third person was when they're on all the ruffians are in line? He's got like glasses on and crap. I don't know who that is.
Oh, I don't remember.
Let's see if I can find it. But I was like, who is this guy? This is funny. A Yiddish speaking Native American chief and a director in line. Oh, it says he was a director in line to help invade Rockridge, a nod to Hitchcock.
Oh,
Sure.
yes.
And I also liked how he was like the governor and he was like cross-eyed.
I honestly,
Oh,
like watching this movie, oddly enough, I really did not have a lot to say.
yeah.
Like with the Clone Wars was so easy to like pick dumb crap to be annoyed about, but this one was like, all right, like stuff happens and it's okay. I liked it. It
Yeah.
was funny.
I liked how they made fun of everybody, not just white people, but they made fun of everybody in the movie.
Right. Yeah, I think that kind of comes from having like 6 writers or whatever on it, or 5 writers.
Yeah.
Um, it makes sense. It's smart. I think the whole point was to kind of point out the fact that like Western Hollywood Western movies are totally historically inaccurate. Um,
Yes.
and they look past all the awful things that happened during that time. So this movie was like, hey guys, like I don't know, it was like pointing at that, right? It's satire.
Yeah.
Um,
Satirizing.
right. So like I that was kind of the whole point of the movie. Pretty sure.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole point of it was to poke fun at all of it. Like, it's a spoof.
We're breaking ground here. This is real. Sorry.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add about plot points?
Uh, not necessarily. I think, yeah, because the plot was kind of non-existent. Like it was there, stuff happens, but it's kind of like, okay, I don't know. Like one thing that was annoying is the guy. Frick, what was his name?
Which guy?
The character played by Harvey Korman.
Oh, Headley.
Headley. Oh, frick, we were just saying it. Yeah. What was his position? Did they ever say like he was just a rich guy or with the government in his back pocket or?
I think it said on his door as you're meeting him, but I don't remember what it said.
Yeah, that was kind of my one problem was like I totally didn't notice who his character was. So when they're like when he sends the letter and they're like, oh, it's legally binding to let Mongo go or whatever, like I was like, yeah, but is it? Or what is he? I just could not remember.
I just think he was a businessman.
Just a rich, wealthy businessman. Yeah, they call him a high roller. Oh, he's probably the owner of the of the railway. That's what that is. Okay, that makes sense. Now I feel dumb. There we go. That's probably what he was. He's an attorney general.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Did you like the executioner?
Yeah, he was funny. That is honestly the only gag. Okay, so the gags literally take you out of it, but that was the only one where I was, for a second, it was just like Monty Python. Like, I don't know. I just totally like, I don't know. The other ones felt totally natural, even like when they like break into the Universal lot and all that. Like that just fit the movie. But for some reason, him all dressed up and stuff, it just took me to a totally different like movie. Like they literally take you out of the movie, but I was like, what?
I just like how he had a schedule, and he's like, "Oh, I'm booked till Monday."
I'm booked till Monday. Just has a line of people waiting. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yes. All right. Well, if we have nothing else to add plot-wise, we're going to go on a break real quick. But first, here's a message from our sponsor.
This podcast is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Here's how. It's totally free. There are tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast from your computer and even your cell phone. But that's not all. Anchor distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You could even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a complete podcast all in one small place. So go on and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Okay, so we're back from our break. So now we're going to get into some critical reviews of it. So I found that Roger Ebert gives it a 100 on his on their website, and 2 thumbs up. I guess 2 thumbs.
Yeah, he gave it. Roger Ebert gave it 4 out of 4. I'll give it that. That's fine.
I mean, for what it set out to do, I don't know, because it wasn't trying to do anything. It was just trying to spoof. So I don't know.
Well, it is a satire, so there is that. There is an underlying like. There's a reason you're pointing it out. It's not just making fun to make fun. It's making fun to be like, right? Isn't that Isn't that like a thing? Like versus a parody, which is like you're just exaggerating that style, whereas a satire like is specifically trying to say something. So it was trying to do something. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. That was totally anyway.
Well, another funny thing though is that Roger Ebert pointed out only Mel Brooks could get away with a film like Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's gotten away with a lot of stuff, so I agree with that.
Some other reviews I found, some people think the humor goes too far, but I think they're kind of missing the point.
Well, yeah, I was going to bring up when people complain a lot about this movie. When I was kind of reading, like, do you think they're missing the point? They're not realizing the deeper meaning behind it. They're just kind of like, oh, this is shock factor, whatever. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think people just I think people look at it at the like tip of the iceberg and not actually try to invest time into it, try to figure out what it is.
Probably. I honestly haven't thought about it enough. I just barely watched this movie a couple hours ago.
Well, I was watching a couple of YouTube videos. I want to say it was yesterday or today, and some of the people in it were like, "This is the worst movie ever. Don't ever watch it."
Well, I feel like a lot of the established critics that were negative towards the movie, they weren't negative due to the jokes, or like due to like they were more negative saying like this isn't like a grounded comedy, just in the sense that they were saying it's kind of weak. It was kind of like they were saying basically that Mel Brooks could do better. So I couldn't tell if they were like trying to dance around that idea, like without directly saying, oh, we disagree with the types of jokes it was making, or if they were honestly just like, nah, I didn't think it was that funny. I don't know. But a lot of like not established critics, just people now see it and they're like, I just thought that was kind of funny, that like the difference between how they were viewing the movie and its like attempt. Kind of like how what you were saying, those people were like saying it's the worst movie ever, all that jazz. Yeah, probably. Though actually at the time when people would write Mel Brooks, he said it was funny because the majority of the people that complained about the movie were all white people. Like that would come to him and be like angry about what the movie was doing. I thought that was funny. Interesting. I guess one thing that some critics did argue that I kind of understand is they said the movie kind of relies too much on anachronisms and like they were kind of like a pointless use. So that's kind of where actual critical negative reviews were coming from, was just kind of saying like the types of jokes it was using were kind of lame, I guess. I don't know. They never explain themselves. They just say stuff. But
so, Hunter, tell me your thoughts and opinions of this grandiose film.
I mean, I kind of already spilled it a little earlier. I honestly don't have anything to say about the movie. Like it's a funny and enjoyable movie. I like the main character. What's his name? Cleavon Little's character. Is that his name?
His name is Bart.
Bart.
Yeah.
The sheriff. Okay, yeah, I love his character. He's funny. And like him and the Waco Kid together is just fun. Enjoyable. The Waco Kid. Gene Wilder's funny. I thought it was actually, what I thought was interesting looking into this is Gene Wilder wasn't the first person to play Waco Kid. And dang it, Cleavon Little wasn't the first guy to play Bart or play the sheriff. They originally wrote it for Richard Pryor to play, because he was in the writer's room. He helped with the movie. I thought that was interesting though, like the characters that like I always think of, or I mean at least Gene Wilder, you always think of him as a kind of he's in a few Mel Brooks movies. Or is he only in Young Frankenstein? Or is he in a few?
He's in a couple more. Yeah. And I think he's in High Anxiety as well. I'm not entirely sure.
I think so. Maybe. I don't remember. I haven't seen that movie. I haven't seen that in a while. Or did we watch that? I don't remember. Am I thinking of, is that the train one or no?
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
It's not the train one. I'm thinking of whatever. Silver Streak or whatever. What is it called? Totally different movie. Different people. Anyway, whatever.
It was hilarious, and I think it was proving the point it was trying to make. And, I mean, yeah, there's no plot really to follow, but that's okay. I think the humor makes up for that.
Yeah, as with all these movies, I guess. If you think of Spaceballs, though, the plot's a little easier to follow, and like it's a little more solid. But also, well, I don't know. There is something about the plot in this one though that is kind of like, what? But
yeah, like once Headley gets like people recruited, then it kind of just, Jesus take the wheel type of thing. Like there's nothing. Which makes me wonder if they actually planned to write an ending or not, or if they just made one up on the go. But that was basically my opinion of it. Like you, I didn't have a whole lot to trash it with.
Yeah, not necessarily trash it, but even praise I don't really have for it. It was just like, I enjoyed it. It was a good time. The end.
All right. Well, anything else you want to add to it, Hunter?
I would recommend the movie if you haven't seen it. Well, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everybody, but give it a chance. Understand that it's trying to point out something. It's not a racist movie or whatever, but it's got more going on in there. So, but it's also just a fun, weird, awkward time.
Yeah. Kind of like this was.
Right, exactly. This podcast episode was analogous. Wait,
Analogous? Analogous?
that word.
Yes.
Um, we had our ups, we had our downs, and now we will watch the ending together. Drive away into the sunset.
Yes. We'll use that car right there.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Hunter, even if it was over Zoom.
I think that kind of led to the awkwardness.
Whatever. It is what it is. So next time, I'll be discussing the next and last film for Action Week. Rather than it being one film, I'll be speaking about a group of films as a whole. I'll be talking about the superhero genre. So, you want to do that with me, Hunter?
Or just a bunch of superhero movies in general?
Yeah, my idea kind of was just picking. Well, I'm going to do 5 just because I don't have like all the time in the world. Just 5 random superhero movies, and then discuss like the new subgenre that it is.
All right, sounds good to me.
Yeah. Thanks again for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time, this has been Surfing Through Cinema with Hawaii Harry. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Surfing Through Cinema. Make sure to check us out on Facebook at Surfing Through Cinema with Hawaii Harry and on Instagram with Surfing Through Cinema. We also have a website, www.anchor.fm/surfingthroughcinema, where you can learn more details on upcoming episodes and on past episodes. We also want to let you know we're available on YouTube, so check us out Wednesday mornings at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.